Welcome to the Cashflow Project Podcast. Are you looking to better your financial situation by increasing your cash flow? Too busy to hunt for real estate deals or don't know where to start? Then you're in the right spot. Join us as we dive in and talk about investing for cash flow using multifamily real estate.
Welcome to the Cashflow Project Podcast. I'm your host, Steve Guerrero with Tri-City Equity Group. Today, we've got Angelo Christian on the show. So Angelo is an investor and he's an entrepreneur. He's the chairman and CEO of Christian Financial, a diversified investment holdings company. He lives in Houston, Texas and he's a family man. So definitely got some shared experience and life there. He's happily married, proud father of 3 children. So he's got me beat by 1. He's been featured in Bloomberg, CNN, Good Morning America, Great Day Houston, Houston Chronicle, Business Insider, and he's helped tens of thousands of people transform their lives, basically with his influential coaching, real estate university, wealth management, and of course, mortgage banking. Angelo, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Steve. I'm so happy to be on. I appreciate it. I'm very excited to be on today and definitely looking forward to reaching out to all of your followers and listeners and educating them, empowering them as much as I can.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I appreciate you jumping on. We had some technical difficulties this morning, but that's a part of life. And for all of our listeners, you can't avoid the speed bumps, but what we'll do is, of course, we manage and you do the best with them that's possible. That's how you win the game. So yeah, no, I appreciate you hopping on and awesome. 100%. Well, for those of our listeners that may be not familiar with you and kind of what you've got going on, give us a little bit of your backstory. How did you get started in real estate? How did you get started in the business in general? Kind of catch us up to where you are today.
Right. Yeah. So I got involved. I had a buddy of mine. So first off, my background, like I said, Steve, I grew up in Houston. We grew up very lower class, rough upbringing, was in poverty for a really long time. And so no one in my family ever went to college. So we struggled. It was like a day-to-day survival type lifestyle. And so I had higher aspirations to do something with my life, bigger dreams. So I actually went to college and got my GED. And then I studied, my whole thing was studying success, finding role models, finding heroes. So I studied like Warren Buffett was a huge virtual mentor for me and from reading all of his books, Anthony Robbins, Jeff Bezos, obviously Elon Musk. And so I wanted to do something bigger. And a friend of mine was actually in mortgage and he introduced me to it. And I was obviously really skeptical about it. I didn't really know what mortgages were. So I kind of followed his footprint, went to go work at the mortgage company he was at. And instantly with my work ethic, determinism really skyrocketed and became a top lender in Texas. And I fell in love with the business. I love taking people's complex problems or situations and helping them to get funding, taking a issue and trying to solve it with somebody needing capital, whether it's an investor, an entrepreneur, first time buyer, millennial, whatever. So that's why I started the business in 2005 and really grew my team and scaled it from there. So first in the beginning, we were doing subprime, obviously, and from 05 to 08. And that kind of pivoted to government lending after the subprime crash. We got really deep into government FHA, USDA, VA, those type of loans, multifamily, agricultural, and just really grew my business, man. Attracted more people, got into growing the business and recruiting a lot of loan officers, a lot of loan processors, doing the secondary market and the primary market, originating, selling loans, servicing loans. And then probably about 8 years ago, I started to see that there was a huge demand for private lending, hard money lending. And that really, really attracted me because of alternative finance. So because there's so many deals that come in where they don't fit the cookie cutter, or there's these things that are just so bizarre in people's situations with different sponsors, different investors, different companies. The private lending is something that we've really, really put a lot of focus on in the last 8 years to really grow that. In fact, it's pretty much like 50% of our business right now is private lending. So we do a lot of stuff like hard money, bridge, fix and flip, asset-based loans, ground up construction for multifamily, ground up construction for developers. So that's a huge part of our business right now. And so today we lend nationwide, commercial, residential, private lending. And the whole thing with us is maniacal service. We're open 7 days a week. You work with our team directly. So it's not automated. There's no AI. It's us real people figuring out deal structure, solving things. And then because we do balance sheet lending and we do all the different products, I mean, we have the largest buffet of products. Our whole thing and how we got famous is solving the deal, figuring out we're the lender that gets the call in the last hour where the other lender fell apart, deal didn't fund. sponsors scrambling, has all this earnest money locked up and can't get it funded. We get that call every day. And how do you figure out, what do we do? Help us. So we come in as the white knight, solve the deal. And we're not perfect. We can't fund everything, obviously, but the thing with us is that we put a tremendous amount of effort into dissecting the file to figure it out, to see what routes are available. And a lot of lenders, Steve, you probably know this, a lot of lenders don't do that. If you don't fit the bill, you're out. They don't want to mess with it. They want to go watch TV. So it's just that type of deal, right? I mean, that's not everybody. There's some hardworking lenders out there, but most of them in our industry, they want the layup. They want the slam dunk. They're not going to. Of course, we take those too, but we like the ones that helping people out. And that's really what I believe our mission is to help people solving their problems, getting them the funding, helping them to advance their life.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, the vast majority of lenders, people are so used to just, okay, well, I'm going to go down to my local big box, my bank that's to go get a loan, especially if they start investing. It's like, well, guess what, guys? Like they want cookie cutter stuff. So if you are a W-2 and you've got kind of a rural cookie cutter normal deal, hey, you know what? Okay, Chase or any of the big box lenders will be able to take you on, no problem. But as soon as you start to step into, hey, you know what? Well, I'm a business owner, I'm a 1099 or I've got a fix and flip or something like that. Like, hey, they're probably not going to be able to help you. You are going to need something that's got to have a little bit of a unique situation, or they have lending programs or products that are going to fit what you're trying to do, right? You go down to Chase or something and ask them, oh, okay, well, hey, I'm going to do a flip and my deal is 70%, whatever LTV, and I've got 50 grand of rehab and whatever. The originator and whoever's going to service you there at the branch is not going to be able to help. So, and if your situation starts getting pretty unique, you're going to need exactly what Angelo is talking about. You're going to need asset-based lending. You're going to need DSCR or all these different products that are specifically tailored towards the investor market. And so for those of you guys that are listening that are maybe just getting started, not used to anything kind of working in this space, it definitely works a little different than, like I said, just, okay, well, hey, I'm going to hit up the ATM and go try to get a loan from the same guys. And it's like, wow, it's not always the case. Yeah, do you have any unique stories or anything that stands out? Like maybe one that went sideways and you had to kind of jump in last minute, or you got the deal done?
Oh yeah, I mean, like I said, it really happens every day. Like I'm not kidding. Like we had one that it was kind of this is kind of unfortunate, but we had one client that we had pre-approved. He was buying a $1 million property in Delray, Florida, and we pre-approved him, and the loan went along great. And he went shopping, and then he met a realtor. Realtor didn't know who I was, so they steered him to their lender and promised them hey, we'll do everything for you. I've closed with this guy, I trust him. So the guy left me, went to that lender, and the guy had to put up about $40K earnest money, non-refundable, to go under contract. And I just kind of checked in with him periodically, say, hey, how's the loan going? How's it coming along? Oh, he said everything's fine, closing. This is on March 4th. And I checked with him, and he called me on March 4th, scrambling and panicking. Lender called him, denied the loan, can't figure it out, can't get it. He owns a car dealership, cash business, 1099. And so he's like, help me, Angelo, I'm going to lose my earnest money. So we specialize in self-employed. We're the self-employed expert. We do no doc, 1099, P&L loan, bank statement loans, no doc, whatever. Get him approved, closed yesterday, Friday, with his beautiful home, funded. He's happy. And he fired his realtor. And he's just, that's like, we get those type of deals where, and that happens. That was one that it was actually really exciting because that got pretty dicey. He almost lost all his earnest money. And the seller threatened to keep it if he didn't close. He had to close this month or his earnest money went hard. So, and I'm sure you've seen stories or heard stories like that all the time too. I mean, it's crazy. There's a lot of lenders out there that they either don't know what they're doing, they don't have the product, and I don't know. It just blows my mind that how many people get stuck in these positions. So we've gotten really famous for figuring out on the operating table how to get it done.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's a couple of different things there just from hearing that. It's like, I know we're trained, like, especially like, okay, you're an investor or somebody else, like, hey, do you have a referral for me? Right. And it's like, okay, like that, like, okay, the agent, maybe they like the agent is solid, but they're used to kind of working in a narrow box. Same thing, just like the loan officers, they're used to working with somebody who's got a W-2, real clean and easy to work with on the lender side. So, hey, we'll go talk to my lender. Because again, maybe they've closed 20 deals with them before, and maybe that works for the vast majority of people. But then your situation is not the vast majority of people. and then they don't realize that they're putting you in a pinch. And this is kind of I don't want to say it's a shot to agents out there, but agents, increase your tool set too. A lot of agents are retail agents. They're not used to working kind of the investor side. They don't understand the investor mindset or working with people who have kind of a different need and a different situation. And we're seeing way more of that now, right? I'm sure you've seen it as, hey, we came out of this super low interest rate environment for years. Okay, how many people did you see that you got into really cheap debt?
Oh,
And then, and now, okay, hey, the rates have skyrocketed compared to what they've been for such a long period of time. Okay, well, hey, we need to maybe structure a deal a little bit differently, or do a loan assumption or some other kind of creative stuff that maybe everybody wasn't doing. So we haven't had to do the last stretch. What are you seeing kind of in the current economic environment? Have you seen things change lending wise? Like,
yeah, like funny, brother. I mean, you know about the NAR settlement, that whole thing. I think that's going to be really interesting moving forward. I am a little bit concerned about the realty industry and how that's going to affect everything. I mean, obviously interest rates play a big driver in my business, and politics have a lot. So I will say that this year, that so far the first 3 months that business has picked up substantially. Last year was not really a good year for us. There was not really any growth from 2022 to 23. This year we're about 40% up from last year. So for the same year over year. So that it's encouraging, and rates they've kind of teeter-totter. They dropped a little bit. Now they've kind of gone back up. I mean, you're seeing conventional mortgage rates hovering around 6.5% or so, and then commercial rates around 7.5%, 8%. So I think that my thought is that rates are going to come down maybe another 100 basis points or so for the third quarter or so, I'm hoping. But I mean, obviously I don't know for sure. I mean, they could stay like this for the year, but my thinking is that, just historically being in this business for so long, but the past isn't always the future. But business, it seems like there's more activity and people have kind of succumbed to the new norm of where we're at. And there's still a lot of buyers. I will say on the lending side that a lot of investors have come up with, and kind of this happened in the subprime time too, where lenders come up with innovative products. We rolled out so many different programs, and so has the agencies, to help to stimulate or offset a higher inflationary market. So like, for example, you can buy a 4-unit right now with only 5% down.
Yep.
Or historically at 5% down. So, and that's a Fannie Mae product. Fannie Mae's seeing that. They're trying to get people out there to do stuff. I mean, and then we also offer ground up construction, one-time close. That's a big thing. People, they can't find inventory, but we can give you funding to build the house. So I think that no matter what ends up happening, they're survivors, they're innovative, they're going to figure out how to make it through it. And that's for most people, not everybody does, but I think the general market, and that's kind of what that I'm seeing. I think that it will sustain. I think it's going to be a good year.
Yeah, for sure. No, I think we'll wrap up and wind up like the end of this year, like you mentioned, probably Q3, Q4, we'll probably finish up pretty strong. A lot of that's going to depend on like political stuff, just because we have elections this year, and we'll see what pans out. I am curious. Well, a couple of things from that. This is the time, just like you mentioned, they did put out the 5% down, right? FHA. That's actually huge for a lot of our listeners and I was just talking to some investors last night about this. That's huge. Actually, that product is actually really good, just down payment wise. If you guys are trying to get into small multi, that is a great product, just in terms of being able to get into something low down. And okay, hey, maybe you house hack, maybe you live in one unit, you rent out the other 3. It's kind of a classic way to kind of get going, really boost your cash flow, strengthen your position financially moving forward. So maybe you can move on to bigger and better projects. But right now, people are usually real doom and gloom, kind of heading into a down, let's say a kind of a dip, a down cycle in the market. It's like, guys, there's money to be made in every cycle. And there's new products, there's new strategies, new opportunities that come up, whether we're up or whether we're down. You kind of have to learn how to have to manage through those cycles. It's all cyclical. Guess what? It doesn't stay down forever. It doesn't stay up forever either. But you have to learn, you got to learn how to navigate through those waters and be able to not only survive, but there's ways to thrive through every cycle. So I appreciate talking to people. I appreciate talking to people who have been through some market cycles and understand it's not always just riding high and whatnot. So yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I think that, people always adapt. I mean, companies think that no matter what, the strong will survive and prevail. and they'll just keep getting better and better.
Yeah, no, for sure. Now I am curious, since you guys are nationwide, right? Like the lending that you do is nationwide. Are you seeing like an uptick in activity in certain markets compared to others?
Yeah, I mean, I think and it's not really, there's a few things. I think some areas like that were really hot have now kind of cooled off, like San Diego, Austin, Texas. And you're seeing kind of a shift to the mid markets where they weren't, like, for example, a Memphis or a Nashville, Tennessee, Oklahoma City, where those areas weren't as saturated and investors are flocking over to there, Ohio, where they can still get good long-term value and a little bit of pullback, like Austin, for example. I mean, there's the money over there isn't ever flowing as it's been for the last decade. Still, I mean, a resilient market, obviously, but I think that there's been some pullbacks, like, for example, like Seattle. Of course, I mean, it's still one of the best. These areas are some of the best markets of all time. It's just that there's been slight decline in value and loan demand, and we're seeing a little more demand in places, North Carolina, Greenville, North Carolina. I mean, stuff like that, where people are flocking and they can still get a property for maybe $130 a foot versus $500 a foot. And so just you're seeing that because wages haven't really risen with all of this stuff proportionately. And so people are looking to try to figure out where are they going to live, what are they going to do, or investors too. I mean, for investors to have debt service and NOI, it needs to make sense for them. And obviously you can't have a cap rate with a 9% interest rate that makes any sense. So yeah, I mean, there's been that. I've seen a lot more investors trying to create value with ground up construction.
Yep.
That seems to be a big thing versus trying to find, because there's been so many people getting into the real estate game, multifamily, and I've seen a lot of saturation with that, and they can't find deals. So they're just building them. And we see a lot of FHA ground up construction for 2, 3, 4, 500 units, whatever. And kind of the outskirts of major metropolitan, like in Homestead, Florida, right outside of Miami. There's a ton of activity over there right now on the outskirts of Houston, like Fulton, Texas. I mean, so you're seeing where land is still affordable and investors are flocking and then expanding and using these great products like the FHA ground up construction loan. And then the thing about that product, which is so amazing, once the construction is complete, you can refinance, cash out, pay back your investors. So we've seen a lot of that in the last 5 years.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I've actually talked to a few investors here recently that are doing like, maybe they're doing build to rent, right? Or they're doing new construction just because the inventory has been so tight. The nice thing is you go into some of these markets like that, and that's pretty crazy. I lived in Houston, as we're going to talk about off camera, but the fact that people are going all the way out to Fulton, like that's a testament to how much development has been in Houston, how much the city's expanded. And the same thing in Miami, right? Like any of these major metros, if you can still get into, okay, it's path of progress. Hey, maybe the main metro area has become too expensive to be in. You can go just a little further out, still find some affordability. And that's what people need right now. I mean, with the amount of inflation that's going on, rising cost of living, people need some affordability, just kind of the general public. And that's still a great way to go, especially if you can build, because inventory is tight, right? Especially in those inner city areas. Yeah. Well, very cool. Well, this part of the show where we kind of transition to what we call our fire round, just a little bit more brief kind of Q&A, a little bit more rapid fire. Is that something you're up for?
Oh, for sure. 100%. Shoot.
Right on. All right. So first question, what is the best book that you recommend other than, let's say, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, right? For all of our real estate, Purple Bible people.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, one of my favorites is Think and Grow Rich. So I don't know if the audience thinks of that, but that's always been how to win friends and influence people. Those are probably, two of my top. But Think and Grow Rich. Unlimited Power by Tony Robbins is a great one. So those are probably my most favorite.
Yeah, your go-tos. Yep. Yeah. No, great books for sure. All right. Next question. What would you consider your superpower is? What is your superpower in terms of what you bring to the table? Some people are just like, hey, I'm an optimist, or man, I can strategize.
Yeah. I would say what people tell me, my team tells me, my family is solution-oriented strategist, effort. The hardest that most people tell me that I work about 120 hours a week, that I'm the hardest worker they've ever seen. Someone that's so dedicated to the craft to leave no stones unturned. I have a lot of colleagues, hey man, you spend too much time trying to figure out problem solving deals. Just go move on to the good ones. Stop messing with the stuff. And I said, look, I don't believe like that. I believe in leaving no stones unturned. There's a way to resuscitate that thing. I'm gonna figure it out. So I mean, I don't know if I had to put that into a superpower. So
Hey, that's tenacity and probably should be solution oriented. Yeah, that's definitely a superpower. All right, right on. All right, next question. What is the biggest lesson that you've learned over your career thus far?
man, I think, and it's funny. I had my team. We do a monthly team dinner, and I was talking to my team last night about this. And one of the things I'll say is that you have to be really, really careful about who you let in your world. And so, pretty much whoever's in your inner circle is probably what you're going to end up becoming. And so, just I would say, lesson wise, just think really carefully about the stuff you let go into your head, the environment that you're in, because you'll ultimately probably drift in that direction.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I 100% agree with that. I'm a huge proponent of surrounding yourself with people who are either a little further down the road from you, or we tell this a lot to people that you want to surround yourself with, let's say you're married. Hey, you want to surround yourself with people who want to see your marriage succeed, that want to see your business succeed. There's a lot of people get caught up in too much drama, keeping people close to them who don't believe in them, who, hey, they get a little bit of success and they want to tear you down, right? Because it's kind of crabs in a bucket kind of thing. And it's like, nope. Yeah, you gotta go. So yeah, that's a huge one.
Sometimes it's not just friends. Sometimes it can be family. It could be,
Yeah.
be people. A lot of people put on mirage and they think that you're a friend, but they're not. I mean, you just have to be real careful.
Yep. 100%. Yeah, no, absolutely agree with that. All right. And the next question, what's for the busy working professional? Somebody's trying to work towards financial freedom. What advice would you have for them?
Work towards, I would say, focus on becoming really, really good at developing your skills, because you have to become, and this is another thing I was talking about with my team last night, is you have to become a master of what you do. If you're going to make money, a lot of people, they jump and they chase the flashing lights and try to say, okay, I'm going to do Amazon dropshipping, I'm going to do real estate, I'm going to do Airbnb. And the rabbit that chases two catches none. And so I always tell my kids, you can have anything you want, but you can't have everything. And so the thing is that I would say become a master at what you do. And then also you want to, when you're trying to get started, people always say the beginning is the hardest to get started, to build up capital. Don't live beyond your means. You don't need to have a Rolls Royce right now. You need to focus on building up your capital, networking, adding value. Why would someone invest in you compared to everyone else? What information do you have? People are not stupid. They're not going to just invest money because you look good. You have to have some value. And so the thing is, you have to really, really focus on developing your skills, and then don't try to impress people. You don't need to wear a Rolex right now. You can just focus on being good at what you do, and that stuff will come later. And I think a lot of people, they get caught up in the wrong things and they go try to impress people, but then they run out of money and then they can't even build it. So I think those are my two pieces of advice.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. Yeah, 100% agree with that. It's like, trust me, spending 5, 10, 15 grand on a watch or a car or whatever. I'm not saying that those aren't things that can't come in time, but yeah, when you're first trying to get traction and try to get some momentum going, yeah, I 100% agree. Like, become the best you that you can, focus on your strengths, really develop your craft, and yeah, no, you'll go way further. So without the stress.
I agree.
Right on.
I agree.
Well, if our audience has a deal that they need to get funding for, or they just want to connect with you, like, what are the best avenues for them to do that?
Yeah, for sure. So you can call or text us 832-431-6331. You can go to our website at Angelo Christian. I mean, we're all over on Instagram, YouTube, obviously, Angelo Christian Mortgage, TikTok. We do a ton of social media. I have my podcast there. So you can reach out to us there, hit us up, call us, go to our website, whatever. Like I said, we lend nationwide. So if we can help you in any way to get a deal funded or structuring, please reach out to us.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll make sure to include the links kind of in the show notes for all of our listeners. Guys, if you guys are in Houston or wherever and you need some solutions on the lending side, make sure you guys reach out to Angelo and hit him up, and hopefully him and the team can take care of you guys, answer any questions that you might have. Angelo, hey, it's been great having you on the show. Really appreciate you taking some time out of your day and connecting. And yeah, it's been a pleasure. We'll have to connect with you the next time I'm in Houston.
Please do. Yeah. Thank you, Steve. It's been an honor, man.
All right. Awesome. I appreciate you. Enjoy your day.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hello. All right. What a good show with Angelo Christian. who's been in the business a long time on the lending side, definitely knows kind of the ins and outs. And I love talking to people who are seasoned, who've been through a couple of different market cycles because they understand that this business is dynamic. That you have some ups, you got downs, but they don't stay that way kind of forever. So yeah, definitely hit up Angelo over at Christian Financial for your lending needs. And if you've got a deal that kind of needs some creative structure or maybe some needs some creative financing, hit them up. They've got a lot of different loan products over there. All right, guys. If you guys are interested in connecting with us, of course, make sure that you go to TriCityEquity.com. We'd love to be able to connect with you, learn more about what you've got going on in your business and, what your needs as an investor. If you want to connect with us locally, we've got our monthly meetup, Honolulu multifamily and more. We'd love to be able to put a face to the name, come shake a hand, provide you a venue to connect and network with other like-minded investors, like-minded individuals. Of course, if you guys are finding value in the podcast, make sure that you're subscribing to the show, that you give us a like, share the episodes with anybody else that you might find value in the show. And of course, if you guys are going to be here on the island or you want a reason to come out to Hawaii, make sure that you're making plans to attend the Hawaii Millionaire Mindset Conference. It's going to be July 10th through the 13th here in Hawaii, out in the beautiful Kolina Resort area. It's going to be out at the Four Seasons again. It's just an amazing venue. It's an amazing time being able to connect with other entrepreneurs, other real estate investors, business owners. If you need a boost to a change to your mindset, and or to the people that you're surrounding yourself with, make sure that you're making plans to come out to events just like that. All right, guys, we're going to catch you on the next episode and go out, take some action, and we will see you next time. Aloha.